Thank you. Sometimes when I meet my ex-students or friends of mine who now work in Berlin startups or run startups, they ask me, hey Jürgen, what the heck did you do? Why did you start with SAP, a huge tanker? What's the matter behind that? I try to explain a bit in this talk what we are doing at SAP and why it actually makes a lot of sense for me to working at SAP. I don't need to tell you that SAP is a market leader and has been a market leader for enterprise applications. It has been a startup 43 years ago when the term startup didn't even exist. And since then, we had great success and have great success, huge, great story of innovation. Now what I'm going to share is how do we set up SAP in order to not only survive the next couple of years, but to also have mid and long-term success. What we currently see is that the innovation pressure is getting higher and higher. So if you're now a Fortune 500 company, the average life expectancy is something like 15 years, not very high. And the main driver for this is the digital transformation. So basically, all companies will have to adjust. The typical examples, Nokia, Kodak, they learned it the hard way. And we certainly see that adjusting is a minimum. In many, many cases, as a lot of companies, businesses will be disrupted within the next 15 years, really adjusting and changing the business is essential. For example, blockchain is shaking up the financial industry. Machine learning is extending what our current knowledge workers are capable to achieve. So at SAP, we also looked at that and said, okay, what can we do? We are set up, we are a large company, huge enterprise, and we are set up for success. Within SAP, we are organized along 25 industries we serve and 11 lines of businesses. For example, finance, HR, procurement. And all of those are focused, laser focused on execution and market success. And this is what you need in order to outperform the competition. So all of those are either market leader or supposed to be market leaders very soon. But we also analyzed a lot of companies that got disrupted, and we saw that on the one hand side, you need such a structure, you need to be laser focused on execution, and on the other hand, you have two issues. The first issue is that you do not look beyond your current focus. You stick to what you're working on, and incremental improvements in there, but you very often miss what's going on for SAP, what might be the 26th industry, what might be the 12th line of business. And the second issue you have is that you miss disruptive changes in technology and business models. Because you have invested so much in this area, you are focusing on what you currently do, that you miss those two things. And within SAP, we set up an innovation center in the beginning and then an innovation center network to especially tackle those two things. First task, what are new markets? Second task, what are disruptive technology and business model changes that might disrupt our customers, existing ones or future ones? And the hard thing is that very often you do not even recognize that because your current customers do not see those changes as well, because new competition comes in. And this competition will turn the customer's business jeopardize customers' business and turn our current solutions obsolete. The Innovation Center, the closest one, is in Potsdam, not far away from here. This also was the first one within SAP. The Innovation Center is a protected environment within SAP. It still belongs to SAP, everything applies, but we managed to create a protected space where our colleagues can work on discovering new markets for SAP, working with disruptive technologies. how did we do that? In the Innovation Center in Potsdam, we, right from the beginning, worked closely with startups and also learned a lot from them. So we set up our projects like startups. First thing there is to have cross-functional teams. So we really have developers, we have designers, we have business developers, communication. So this startup is responsible for everything they do. The second thing is that we give those colleagues end-to-end responsibility. This makes a huge difference if you are just working on a small piece here or there, or if you are responsible for making this startup a success. Because only then what we see is that you get this momentum in the team that you really want to win. It's not about making a minor difference, it is about winning in a new market, winning with a new disruptive technology. This is sometimes, it takes a lot of courage, so we spend a lot of energy with our teams, and also very important, we distinguish between the ideas that we evaluate and the teams behind it. So we tell the teams it is very good if you find out that an idea is not working early enough, as early as possible. Because then we can save a lot of energy, save a lot of time, and invest this time in exploring new other ideas. But sometimes, especially in Europe, it's hard. So if you fail, we do not have the culture as in the US. We also have an innovation center in Palo Alto. When an idea fails, we really have to make sure, and this is one of our learnings as well, that the team behind this didn't fail, but it succeeded in quickly evaluating that an idea is not working. Very often I'm asked where to find the truffles. So what we do around the globe is working closely together with startups and with VCs to finding out, seeing what's going on in those markets. What we also do is we conduct applied research and work with trend scouts to really assessing holistically what is going on in these markets. What we then do is our core focus, our main investments, investing in software development for new markets. So we organized us along 4 focus areas. First one is personalized medicine. I can share a bit later on. Second one is machine learning for enterprise applications. Third one is smart cities. And fourth one is future enterprise applications, including applications for the future of work. So very briefly, our management systems are mainly set up for companies that were founded 100 years ago, companies of the industrial age. But today, more and more value is being created by knowledge workers, but this is not really reflected in how enterprises run. Then I'm also asked very often, how do you judge focus areas? How do you choose focus areas? How do you choose projects? I think we are not very different from VCs. We look at market potential. Here we say that all our focus areas should have a market potential larger than $1 trillion in maximum 10 years from now. Then the second thing we look at is disruption. Is there disruption going on in this market? Because if there isn't, it's very hard to enter a new market because most of the time the existing leaders, market leaders, will stay market leaders if there's no huge disruption. And then to minimize risk, we also look at initial successes. Has there been a success? Has another company, do they earn money there? Do they have initial revenue? Did VCs invest in a company and do we see a huge valuation there? So it's not far away, it's not ground research what we do, but as VCs also handle the situation, we minimize risk also by looking at initial successes. To very briefly share with you how we entered a new market for SAP. We opened up the market of personalized medicine for SAP. SAP has been active in the healthcare sector for many, many years, but the only thing we delivered was the back-end, ERP back-end for financials, controlling, and so on. Maybe some of you know that. couple of years ago, we revolutionized the enterprise database market by inventing and introducing SAP HANA. So this is now the digital core foundation for many, many SAP solutions. But here at the Innovation Center, we, for quite some time, look at the market of personalized medicine. And we saw and knew that a lot will be going on there. So we thought, how might we introduce and use SAP HANA and all the analytical capabilities in the area of personalized medicine? We had a few research projects or research-like projects with local universities here, and then started working with Charité and the National Center for Tumor Diseases in Heidelberg, and really brought together the domain expertise of those companies and our engineering and design skills. And in the end, delivered a solution. So tomorrow we have our release party. It's the first finished product that's coming out of the Innovation Center. We really delivered a product which is helping doctors and researchers to making better decisions and to being better informed when working with patients. And you believe it or not, SAP received design awards. So who would have thought about that a couple of years ago, that SAP actually can win a design award? And this is a Red Dot Design Award. We won several others as well. A design award for interaction design. Because how is it happening? How is that possible? We work closely together in functional teams and in co-innovation with our customer. Then I was asked, Jürgen, please, how can we bring those things that you do in the innovation centers back to the mothership? Because we are only a small team compared to the large SAP. And what we did this year is we introduced an internal startup incubator in SAP. We call it the intrapreneurship program. And you really can imagine it as employees being able to bring in business ideas. And then we coach them a lot, we work with them a lot. We got 403 ideas submitted by more than 900 colleagues, and this is more than 1% of SAP. So for first campaign, it's a good shot, I would say. And on average, we coached those ideas, or iterated on those ideas 8 times. And then we selected them down, narrowed them down to 25, and then narrowed them down to 5 teams, and those 5 teams got 3 months of incubator time, so to say. So we took them out of their traditional job, and this phase just finished. They could work for 3 months on those business ideas, and exactly next week, on Thursday, we have our incubator pitch event, where those 5 teams pitch to the board of SAP, and then hopefully are funded, so to say, get a Series A investment. So here, just to give you a few impressions, these 5 teams, within 2.5 months, reached out to approximately 3,000–4,000 potential customers, and now come back with 140 qualified leads. So if we would start building the solutions they propose, they have 140 companies that would stand behind them and act as co-innovation partners as we work together with Charité and NCT, for example, in the healthcare area. I briefly want to share our learnings. First one, all of you know that, but it's very hard to achieve in reality. Establish a mentality of failing early and failing often, and as I said, most important point, distinguishing between the idea that fails and the team that was successful to validate this idea. Have diverse teams. In the beginning, when I started at the Innovation Center, we only had developers. Then we started introducing and adding designers, business developers, and if you then also empower your team and give them end-to-end responsibility, then we saw a huge change in culture, huge success in the results. Here, mainly my part in this, avoid corporate politics. So in large corporations, you have rules for everything, you have policies for everything, you have processes for everything. It's also so I'm very proud that we somehow managed to have a really protected environment, pressure is still there, so what's coming out of this? What are you working on? What's revenues and so on? But we managed to have a protected environment within SAP, and this same holds true for innovation barriers, all of these policies. We managed to keep them away from our teams. Last one, or two more, we have created a critical mass because people, they ask you, or the board is asking, what's coming out? So what you need to have is enough critical mass to have projects in different stages. We have, as I said, early applied research in machine learning, in personalized medicine, validate ideas, but we also have market success and real revenue, which then encourages everyone to continue this journey and continuing to invest in this journey. Perhaps the most important one, recruit top talents. We ask a lot from our colleagues, and therefore we need very good colleagues. And then, so after I share this with my ex-students, with my friends working in startups, they do not complain anymore about my employer of choice, but exactly the opposite happened. So some of my friends, ex-students, joined us in the Innovation Center in Potsdam and also in others around the world. I want to close with a value we have at SAP. This is stay curious. Thank you.